Just then,
there's parts of our game, Tom, that are unacceptable at the moment. You know, it's 2 weeks in a row where we've had 50 entries against and conceded 130 points. So that's a phase of our game that, done well, enables you to hang in the games longer, enables you to play the game with ball in hand. So we're just getting scored against way too easily at the moment, and it's an issue for the last 2 weeks, potentially 3. And in the end, that was the game. You know, they were just too easy to score against.
So the Bombers were able to get goal side pretty freely, particularly in the third quarter. I think they kicked 7 or 8 goals. Are you guys struggling to cover for Lever and obviously May this week?
I think it's a total team defence how we play, and we're getting beaten at each end of the ground. There's no question about that. You know, I think the ground ball inside our forward 50 were down by 13, and similar down the back end. I think it was, you know, we're still in the negative down there. So if you're losing that at both ends of the ground, you're going to be easy to score against. So you know, we've got some work to do in that phase of the game because it's nowhere near the level of what's required.
We saw some uncharacteristic skill errors. How do you get the confidence back and get the players who are very skilled to snap out of it?
Yeah, you know, second quarter I thought we were clicking and using our numbers pretty well, and starting to get some good connection forward to centre, and then we just had some really basic fundamental mistakes with ball in hand as well, which obviously overloads your defence as well. So they're things we're going to keep working on. That phase of our game was a step forward, but defensively, you know, we've still got some work to do.
Against St Kilda last year out of the MCG, you're talking about defensive run and they cut you apart. And is it disappointing you seem to have almost gone backwards on what you established as your brand?
Yeah, look, I thought definitely for 10 weeks last year there was probably a phase of the game that we're really strong in, but it was something we had to work really hard at to get it to that point, and it's something that we need to continue to work hard on because, as I said, the good teams defensively stand up. They can hang in games for long periods of time. It builds confidence and it takes the energy away from the opposition. If you're going to let the opposition score every time they go inside 50, you're going to give them a lot of energy. And that's what we're doing with opposition at the moment.
You mentioned the second quarter earlier. I mean, you had all the momentum in that period of the game. Did halftime almost come at a bad time? You guys were just so up and about, and then you came out and just sort of were just flatting. What are your take on that?
Yeah, we got some good turnovers and vested into defence and scored 6 goals on the back of turnover. It's as simple as that. First quarter we weren't able to do it. Second quarter we were. Third quarter no. Fourth quarter no. So we've got a pretty clear solution about how we're going to get better. But you know, it's going to take a buy-in from everyone. Buy-in from, you know, we're going to keep working with coaches and our players, and you know, we've done this before. You know, we were leaking a bit early last year, a lot, and we turned that around. So you know, we'll keep working and keep finding solutions to get better.
Gary Lyon said during the third quarter that the club may have got ahead of itself during that third quarter after having such a good second quarter as well. Did you feel like the foot was sort of taken off the accelerator a little bit in the third quarter?
Oh, that's just an easy term to throw around, I would have thought. You know, we're disappointed with how we played in the third quarter. We didn't function as a team. And as I said, there's elements of our game that we got back in that second quarter, but we couldn't sustain that for long enough. So in the end, it looked. You know, we were easy to play against, and they scored when it went inside 50. So, you know, people, I can understand why they would say that and what it would look like, because ultimately, that's what it does look like.
Not too many teams in the top 8 here have fought back from 0-3 to make the finals. How confident are you that your team has what it takes to make it to the top 8?
It's just, we're not even thinking like that.
Yeah.
We're thinking about next week. You know, we've got to keep getting better and improving. We are not happy with the way we're playing. And I said in my presser during the week, you know, we got to forget about the excuses and take them away. We need to get better. And that's fundamentally where we are as a club. And as I said, coaches are going to keep working hard, players will keep working hard. We've turned this around before, but we can only focus on what's ahead of us next week. You know, I'll let you guys decide what 0-3 does for everything.
I realise losses aren't acceptable, Goody, but do you feel you made some inroads tonight? I mean, it was clearly a different performance, generally speaking, to last week. Yeah, look, as I said, there's elements of our game from last week to this week that were better. You know, we definitely connected better with the ball. You know, I thought some guys certainly took their form up. You know, I thought Bailey Fritz was getting back to some good form. Jaden Hunt started to play well as a forward. Christian Petrarca, you know, I thought he looked dangerous and lively for parts of the game.
So there's elements that were on the improve. But, as I said, it's inconsistent in all phases at the moment, but, especially that defensive end.
There's a lot of noise surrounding the club the last 24 hours. I think the answer to this will be no, but I'm going to ask it. Is there any danger of that sort of publicity affecting the team?
No.
Yeah, how's Tommy Doyle's ankle? He sort of came off, got some treatment, then went back on.
Yeah, look, he's obviously sore, so we'll have to have a look at that during the week. But he's an important player, and we need to get him going. He's clearly not in his best form at the moment, so we need to get him fit first and foremost, and then back into some really good form. He's an important player for us as a mature player.
And I think Nev copped a couple of knocks throughout the game. Obviously went back on, but he would just have to sort of rest up, I guess.
Yeah, he does that every week. Nev, he puts his body on the line, and he'll be right to go. I think we got out of the game pretty clean.
Just on Tom during the third quarter, he moves onto the wing, I think, at one stage as well. Was there a temptation to move him further back as the Bombers were getting some momentum, particularly on the scoreboard?
Yeah, third quarter we actually put a number behind the ball. It wasn't Tom. Tom actually played in the wing in the second quarter. So, but yeah, we wanted to hold some momentum. It worked for us for a little while, but ultimately there's a period of the game where you've got to start to even the numbers up again. It's when you're down by 25 points, you actually need to hit the scoreboard and get yourselves back into it. And we weren't able to then defend well enough without that support network.
Do you need to change a bit of your personnel? Like, obviously, Braden Bruce and Declan Kilty are performing pretty well at VFL level. Bringing in another tall, do you think that changes things up a little bit?
Oh, it's definitely an option for us. There's no question about that, and it's something we'll keep looking at and assessing as a coaching staff and find the best formula. But we haven't got a lot of options. We've played a fair few guys through the VFL, but we have got some options with a tall on our forward half, and it's something we will look at. Yeah.
I feel like you were more dangerous in that second quarter when Tom was on the wing. Not lowering your sights a bit.
Yeah, it's funny, Ben. We're talking about an extra tall, and then when we went a bit smaller in the second quarter, we looked probably our most dangerous. So they're all things that we look at and see what our best formula is, not only short term but long term as well.
What's the message for frustrated Demon supporters, obviously coming into a season with high hopes?
Yeah. Oh, you feel for them. I'm hurting as a coach. As a coach, I'm hurting for where we sit at 0-3. Our players are hurting. Our staff are hurting. And I know our supporters are hurting. So my message for them is we're just going to keep going, keep improving. There's 19 games to go. We're just got to keep improving and trying to find a way to get ourselves into some really good form. And it's as simple as that. There's nothing that's going to turn it around but hard work and continually look at how we can get better. Me as a coach, players, everyone. It's pretty simple.
I'm paraphrasing Goody, but I think Woosha mentioned that he felt perhaps that some of his players had the hype surrounding the pre-season, got to the first 2 rounds and then forgot about the contested ball and what's it like to win. Is there a danger that's the same with you guys?
In terms of forgetting?
Well, not forgetting how to win, but I guess just sort of it's going to take a little while to get going.
Oh, look, I think there's elements of our game where we've been better every week, but we need to actually connect and do that for longer. We're inconsistent in all phases of our game. And as I said, you get confidence and belief from doing the work and actually doing it for sustained periods of time, not doing it for 10 minutes here and 20 minutes there. And that's how you get in really good form, and that's how you build belief and build confidence by doing the work and doing it more often than not.